Now let's go to our last pattern.
所以现在让我们来到最后一个环节。
That is the rapid phobia cure.
它就是快速的恐怖症的治疗。
It's also an amazing pattern because it's one of the most famous NLP patterns.
它也是一个非常非常迷人的一个环节，因为它是 NLP 一个非常有名的一个环节。
Let's talk about the subject for a while.
让我们先看一看那个具体的内容。
So the phobia comes from the Greek word phobos, meaning fear.
所以 phobia 就恐怖症这个词呢，它来自希腊的一个词语，它叫 phobos， 意思就是恐惧、害怕。
But phobia is not a normal fear. It's not like a normal fear. It's a sudden, irrational, and devastating fear.
但是呢，恐怖呢，它并不是一个普通的那个害怕的情绪，它是突然的、非理性的、毁灭性的。
The difference is when a person has a fear of flight, of going into the airplane. When the person has a fear of airplane.
比如说，如果一个人他对那个上飞机恐怖的话，害怕的话，
That person can fly. It's not very comfortable, but that person with fear, they can fly. It's uncomfortable, but they fly.
他们其实依然还是可以坐飞机，虽然他的确是不舒服，但他还是可以坐。
But if the person develops a phobia,
但如果一个人他发展成了恐怖症，
that person, they don't fly.
那他就不会去坐飞机。
And if they have to fly,
如果他不得不坐的话，
it's very disturbing, traumatic.
这对他来说就是一个太折磨人，然后太恐怖的事情。
I used that technique with a client of mine.
我跟我的一个来访者用的这个技术。
She lost a friend in an airplane crash in Brazil years ago.
很多年前，巴西的一场飞机事故中，他失去了他的一位朋友。
And she developed a phobia about airplane.
然后他就对这个飞机发展出了一种恐怖症。
And she didn't fly for over 25 years.
他已经有25年的时间，超过25年的时间没有坐过飞机。
I used this technique in one session,
我在一次咨询中用了这个技术，
and now she flies without any problem.
然后他就对飞行没有任何问题。
And if you practice a lot,
如果你不断的练习这个方法的话，
sometimes you can change the phobic structure in minutes.
有的时候你可以在瞬间，在几分钟之内就把这个恐怖的这个建构给改变。
Is there anyone here? Let me finish here first. Some phobias are triggered by thoughts or images.
有一些恐怖呢是由你的思想或者是图像触发的。
If a person has a phobia of rats, sometimes when the person sees a picture or an internet picture, the person may have the phobic symptom just by seeing a picture or even imagining it.
如果一个人他对那个老鼠恐惧的话，他在比如即使他在电脑上看到一张那个图片，或者即使他想象中出现了一只老鼠，他都觉得特别。
And phobias are learning processes. You learn to fear that things in create a phobia.
那恐怖症呢，其实它是一个不断学习的过程，你是慢慢学习到开始去害怕一件事情，然后直到它发展成了恐怖症。
And you can have phobia about everything.
你可以对任何事情感到恐怖。
Some people have phobia of hair, of whatever. You associate something unbearable to anything, a feeling that is unbearable with anything, an object, an animal, whatever.
有些人甚至他会对头发感觉恐怖，或者其他任何你能想象到的事情，然后人们就对那些跟他们有联系的男 任何事情跟人们有关的人，人们都可以发展成恐怖症。
And that's very uncomfortable.
这是一个，那对一个人来说是非常不舒服的感受。
Oh, I thought about doing a little demonstration about this pattern.
我想做一些演示关于这一个环节。
Is there anyone here with a phobia?
这里有任何人有那个恐怖
Of anything, airplane or birds or needles.
恐高？是你是 the phobia of the heights.
Okay, come here. What's your name?
You can call me Amy.
Nice meeting
Yeah,
you.
let's.
So, we're going to demonstrate the pattern here, and then we can talk about it. All I need,
所以我们要在这个环节上做一个演示。
I need you to just follow what I'm going to say, because you're going to work with imagination a lot.
所以我希望你能听懂那个希望你能跟上我所一直在对你的引导，因为你可能需要想象一些很多东西。
So, for how long you have this phobic process?
所以你就已经这个恐怖的过程已经持续多久
several years，好多年了。
Many years. And do you remember when it started?
你还记得它一开始什么时候开始的吗？
But you have recollection, for instance, what can you remember from the past? What is the oldest thing you can remember? One of the oldest things. Do you have a very old image?
所以过去有什么那个经历吗？你还能想起来这些事情吗？或者那个图像？
Remember that one last time.
就想回忆起那个最近发生的，就是你能想起来的那件事。
我先用中文告诉你们，然后我用英文跟他说。然后就是我能想起来，他就问我能够想起来的，就第一次就特别害怕的那个经历。我想起来的大概是去年的时候，就是去那个叫什么来着？悬空寺。
三星三喜的。
哦，对，就是那个寺庙，就是完全在那个悬崖的那个边儿上。然后我当时就站在上面的时候，然后当时本来有人跟我一起，后来就没法儿，就后来就给走散了，因为人太多了。然后那个就真的是只能一个人走，然后我当时就抓着前面一个不认识的人，然后就因为自己完全没法控制，一直抖，然后就那个。
是个
镜子。
I will tell you the story. Yeah, maybe it's last year when I went to there is a temple, and the temple is built on a very high mountain. The path is very narrow, and only one person can get through on one time.
Okay.
And that time, I was alone on the
It
temple.
was last year.
Yeah, it was last year, and then trembling.
I think we can do it this way. I talk with her in English, and you translate for them in Chinese. Okay?
所以我们可以试，就是他们俩用英语跟我翻译给大家。
It's easier this way. And so it was last year.
Yes.
所以是去年。
And since that time, it is the oldest recollection you have about Philip.
No, it's not the oldest.
What is the oldest? What in the past? What you can remember from the past? If you don't remember the first time, but what's the oldest thing you can remember?
所以你能
Go back.
所以你不断的回到过去，想想你能想到的最早发生的恐怖的那感觉是什么时候？
It's very hard to remember because I sometimes feel it's very strange that when I stand on a high mountain, and sometimes just in a building, in a high floor, and when I think that I have fear of the height, and then just suddenly I will feel the fear,
Okay, but just choose a memory from the past, one of the oldest you have, because everything is connected inside.
他是让你回忆最早。
对对对，他刚才就说让我还是说让我回忆一个就是最早的，就是我能够想起来的那个记忆。他说我想不起第一次是什么时候，但是让我回忆一个早期的那个经历。然后我说有点难回忆，因为我说在我的那记忆里面，我想起来有点奇怪，就是我那恐高，就是我很容易恐高，就是有可能就站在那个楼房几层上面都会恐高。但是呢，我那恐高不是说就站在上面我就恐高了，就是我在那上面，我自己刚才我想跟他说的是，就是当我想到说，哎，我觉得我恐高，然后我就会一下子特别恐高，就是不想的时候，就是刚开始不是说我一站上去我就恐了，然后我就说，哎，我恐高，然后一下子就是那样，然后他还说坚持让我想一个以前的那个情景，
Just pick something old, very old. If you don't remember the first time, something very, very old from the past. You tell them.
就是想象一个你觉得最早过去的那个体验，就让你觉得恐怖的那个体验，最高的。
是像 stand on a high building
Okay.
and just look out through the
When was that?
when
More or less. 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
it's not clear.
Okay, more or less.
But it must be older than last year. But I couldn't remember. There are several experiences of that for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I want you to choose one
Yeah, that's
from the
why.
past. That
Yeah,
one.
it's in the past.
One strong one.
Not,
That
not,
is
not
one of the
very
oldest.
strong. It's really happened. I should say. It's really happened.
Okay, so you don't remember exactly when it happened, but you remember the experience.
Yeah, I remember the feeling and emotions.
Okay, she doesn't remember exactly where, when it happened,
Yeah.
but she remembered the experience very well.
他就说还是他就是问我那个经历发生是什么时候，我说真的想不起来了，我说想不起来，他就问的是哪一年，我想不起来，但是肯定是以前的经历。然后我就说，他就问我这个清不清晰，我说没问题，我说这个就是当时那个感受我是很清晰的，就恐高的时候那个感受，那个是清晰的，但是想不起来是什么时候。然后我就说对我来说是经常发生的。
What do you think that this inner part is trying to do for you when you are having the phobia, when you are there feeling everything? What do you think that this inner part creating the phobia is trying to communicate to you, to do for you through the phobia? Protection, maybe, I don't know. What do you think she's doing?
我觉得你的内在的部分为你制造了这些恐怖的感觉、恐怖的症状，他们想跟你沟通的是什么？
Did you see that now here? She remembers something here, and she did something like that. She remembers something and developed an inner dialogue about it, right? I read minds now. You see, it's important to look at the representational systems because while the person is thinking, you see it here.
我们看刚他那个眼神、视线的变化，就是他刚才让你回忆起过去，他就眼睛往那边看，然后接着他眼睛往这儿看，说明他内部开始对话。
Okay, now let's how we do this. I'm going to do in English and you translate because I have to be with her in the process and we can't stop. I will go in the process and you keep translating to them. Okay? So, I want you to go inside and try to ask yourself, what is this inner part is trying to do for me?
我希望你能慢慢走进你的内心，去想想你的内心的这一部分想为你做的是什么。
When I am having the phobia, what is this part trying to accomplish, to do for me?
当我有这个恐怖症的时候，我内心的这一部分，它是试着为我完成什么，试着想帮我做什么。
What do you think about it?
I just feel the fear. There's no thinking.
Okay, so the fear is very intense.
Yeah.
But when you fear, the phobia, do you think that this part is trying to what? To make you aware of the high hides so that you can be protected, something like that. The fear is intense, I understand.
所以他说，朱梅姐说我只能感觉到那个害怕的情绪。他说是的，可能因为那个情绪太强烈了。所以你有没有觉得，比如说你有没有想到，可能这个害怕的恐怖的情绪是为了让你远离那个高处，然后逐渐保护你。
And what do you want instead of this? Instead of the phobia, instead of this fear? And it's important that you do this technique with phobias, not with fear. Fear is the other one.
那你想，比如说，除了这份恐怖的情绪症状之外，你还想要什么其他的东西？还有什么其他是你想要的？因为我们今天谈到的这个恐怖，而不是害怕的那个情绪。
So what you want? You want what? To be able to go in a building and feel fine, feel okay?
Yeah.
所以
Sometimes I know the situation
所以
is
想要
not
的是什么
dangerous.
呢？是走进那个房间，然后觉得还行吗？就不会觉得在恐怖。
She's saying she wants to change because she knows it's not dangerous. That's why she wants to be able to feel fine about it.
他说他想要觉得改变，是因为他知道他这其实并不危险，所以他希望能感觉良好。
So I'm not going to tell you for sure that you're going to change today.
所以我没法说我确保你今天一定会改变。
Okay, a little hypnotic language because the Ericksonian hypnose is part of the NLP demonstration. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to use your imagination now.
所以现在就是你要开始使用你的想象力。
And if someone else has a phobia, you can do the exercise with me, with us. Okay? Just think about the thing you have, the phobia you have, and you follow us in the process.
如果任何人你还有自己有恐怖症的话，你可以在这个过程中跟我的指导语跟随着我，可以一起来做，可以想象那个让你恐怖的东西。
Okay, imagine yourself now in a movie theater, in a cinema, in a movie theater.
现在想象了你在电影院里，
It's a very big movie theater.
它是一个非常大的电影院。
And you sit down in the middle of the movie theater.
你坐在电影院的中间，
And you see the screen, a very big screen.
然后你看到前面的屏幕是一个超大的屏幕，
And you are sitting in the middle, looking in the center, in the middle, looking. The screen is in front of your eyes.
然后你就坐在这个影院的中间，你看到那个屏幕铺满你的眼前。
Okay? So, you remember that experience?
Yeah.
And I want you to think about something. Before the experience, everything was fine, right?
所以我想让你想一想，是不是在你这个体验经历之前，其实之前的事情其实还都进行的挺好。
Let's think about this moment in which everything was fine before the phobic experience.
让我们想回忆起那个，在我们这个恐怖症开始发作的时候，那个之前我们那些感受良好。
Before the problem.
在这些问题之前。
That day, before the feeling started. Let's concentrate in that experience, the one you imagine. That day, it started in a moment. Suddenly you start to feel the experience, right?
Yeah.
Try to imagine a little before the phobic experience, when everything was fine.
因为我们想象的就是在我们专注于的就是我们发作恐怖症的那一天的一个体验，就让我们想象在这个恐怖症发作那个时点之前的一些时间，你感觉良好的时候。
You will create a photo, a picture of that moment before the phobic experience, and you put in the left in the screen. The screen is here, very big, and you're going to put that picture in the left-hand side. Everything fine before the problem.
然后你想象抓住
Yes.
Let's do it. 然后你就抓。
it will help you to change now.
好，那个抓住你在这个恐怖症之前的那些，给它就像一个那个照相机一样截取那些图片，然后放到你的左上方。
So you're seeing a picture of everything fine before the problem that day. A black and white picture. Put it there on the left hand side.
然后你就把这个左上方放上，就像一个黑白照片，啪啪放几张，就放那个在那一天恐怖症发生之前的一些片段。
Okay? Now you let it go.
Go in.
Disappear.
现在你让那些画面消失。
And after the incident, you felt the incident, the phobic experience, and after some time it was okay again. Your life, I mean, it wasn't nice, but your life kept going. Make a picture of everything fine after that, after the incident. Put it on the right hand side.
所以在那个恐怖症它并没有持续你整个的生活。那在那个恐怖症发作之后呢，你的生活又回归了一些常态，然后抓取一些那些生活中运行良好的片段放在你的右上方。
Now again, let it fade away.
然后再一次呢，让那些全部消失。
Bring back again everything fine before the problem on the left. Bring back the picture where everything's fine before the problem. Again on the left.
再把那个左边那个恐怖症之前那些比较顺利的画面再拿回来。
Let it fade away.
然后再让它消失。
Everything fine after the phobic.
然后在你右上方那些一切都顺利的那些。
And keep seeing one, the other. Everything fine before. Everything fine after that on the right. Everything fine on the left before the problem. Everything fine after the problem. You keep seeing both things and sometimes at the same time. Fine, 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 fine. Fine before, fine after. Before and after. Before and after. Before and after. In pictures in black and white. Okay?
所以呢，这两边一个左上方，一个右上方，一个是恐怖症之前的美好片段，一个恐怖症之后美好的片段。然后你就不停的保持你的眼睛不停的看两边，先看左，然后再看右，先看左，再看右。有的时候他们可能会同时出现，然后你就不停的在看这两边。
This is the first step. You see everything fine before. Fine after the problem, fine before the problem, everything fine after the problem, and at the same time, both things.
How do you do it those times? Left and right, where does the machine go?
You put in the left side everything fine before the problem, and after the problem, the phobic episode happened, her life went on again, and everything was fine. And she sees an image of that in the right hand side. And you just see fine before, fine after. Fine before, fine after. Okay, then I will explain the technique. So now, that's what you're going to do. You're going to imagine that you're having an out of the body experience, and part of your body, part of you goes out of your body.
所以你现在想想你的自己的内心的这一部分这些体验处理你的身体，在你身体之外。
And you go all the way back to the movie cabin, in the back of the movie theater. You know, in the movie theaters they have a cabin where you play the movie.
然后现在想象你自己回到了那个电影院中。
You walk all the way to the back. It's a big movie theater.
你走了一段很长的路，然后回到那个电影院中，那真是一个很大的电影院。
You enter in the cabin where the projector is. You know, in the back of the movie, there is a little room in which the projector of the movie is.
哦。
你走到旁
and you go inside that cabin, that space,
然后你进入那个放映室中，进入那个小屋子里，
and from there, from that space,
从那个屋子里，
you know, it's a place with a glass. You probably saw that in movie theaters, a glass, the projector in the back, okay, and you are there, okay, beside the projector, the movie machine.
所以那个屋子呢，就是大家不知道大家电影院有没有见过，就是它前面是一面玻璃对着那个屏幕，然后后面有一个放映机。
And from there, you know that you are inside the cabin,
然后你站在那个电视机后面，站在那个位置，你知道你在那个放映室里。
at the same time you see your body sitting in the middle of the movie theater,
同时，你又看到你自己的那个身体坐在电影院中央，
and in the same time, down in the screen you see the images, everything fine before, everything fine after the problem.
然后在那个电影院的屏幕上，你看到你刚才放在你左边的那个画面和在右边的画面都在那里放映。
So you see yourself inside of the cabin,
而且呢，你也看到你自己在那个放映室中，
at the same time you see yourself in the middle of the movie theater,
同时呢，你也看到你自己在电影院的中央，
and at the same time you see the images in the screen, everything fine before, everything fine after.
同时你也看到那个屏幕上自己截取的那些画面，在创伤之前那些美好和创伤之后那些。
Okay? We're going to use a process called anchor. Okay? I'm going to touch you here, and you're going to see the three positions. Inside the cabin, at the same time in the middle of the movie theater, and at the same time down in the little screen down there, everything fine before, everything fine after.
所以我们有3个定位的那个锚点就是一个是你坐在这儿电影放映室中，一个是电影院中和一个是屏幕上的。
At the same time, you're going to think about something that you feel very confident about.
在这个同时呢，你要想一些事情，这些事情让你觉得特别自信的一些事情。
Do you have a memory about something that you feel very confident about?
你有一些回忆，就是你有没有一些记忆，就是让你觉得你特别想起来就特有信心的那种。
Okay, now, when I say 1, 2, 3,
好，现在呢，如果当我说1、2、3的时候，
you are going to turn on the projector, the movie projector.
你将要打开你那个放映室的那个放映仪。
And you're going to see in the movie screen down there, it's very far, it's a very big theater. You're going to see the phobic event in black and white, down there, okay? Very distant.
你将会在很远很远的那个屏幕上看到你当时发作恐怖症的那个场面。
Okay?
很
So,
远很远。
right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, you start the movie machine. And it starts showing down there, black and white picture. Everything. First, everything was fine, and then happened all of those things, and everything was fine before.
所以这个投影就开始放映完，你就在很远的那个屏幕上看到了那个当时你那个发作恐怖症那个黑白的画面，本来还都挺好的，突然那些事情发生了，然后慢慢就变好了。
You get out of the cabin,
你走出这个放映室，
and you see the last scene in which everything was fine after the incident, taking the whole screen.
然后你看到了在这个恐怖症之后，那些发生的就是一切顺利的生活。
Go to the seat in the middle of the movie where you were,
然后坐到那个你之前
and the seat where you were in the beginning,
坐在你之前在电影院坐的那个位置，
and you see the last scene in colors. Everything is fine.
然后你就会注意到呢，在那个事情之后，所有事情都
Now you're going to imagine that you're going inside the screen in that last scene in which everything is fine after the incident.
现在呢，像你想象，就在那个屏幕上，就是在那个恐怖症发作之后，然后所有事情都变好，他在放那些画面。
So go inside, and I want you to feel fine. It's over. It's whatever happened. It's over. I'm fine again.
然后进入到自己走进到那个画面里，说，无论之前发生了什么啊，它都结束了，它那些恐怖的东西都结束了，现在生活一切都如常了。
And now, have you ever seen a movie being rewinded in a video, a cassette player, or a DVD? You see the film backwards. You know, you rewind the movie, and everyone goes from the end to the beginning. Everybody goes like backwards.
所以你们
Good luck.
所以你们知道有没有那个电影，有的时候它会倒放，就倒着，你就看到所有人的动作就是都是往之前的动作走的。
When I say 1, 2, 3, I want you to go from this last scene where everything is fine.
当我数到1、2、3的时候，我希望你们从这个最后的你觉得一切如常，一切都变好的这个画面开始走。
You are in the end of the experience and inside everything is fine. Okay? And you are going to live the experience backwards from the end to the beginning, and it will finish when everything was fine before.
然后你将从现在这个恐怖症发作之后一切如常这个节点，你开始倒着活，然后活过那个恐怖症，然后再活到恐怖症之前一切如常的那个情景。
You are not going to see it from the distance. You're going to feel it happening backwards.
你不是站在远处去观看这个过程，而是你是真正的去活出来它，去体验它。
Very fast.
非常快的去重新倒着活一遍。
In 5 seconds.
在5秒之内。
Okay? Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Rewind. To the beginning. Everything's fine at the beginning. It didn't happen. Now you return to the middle of the movie theater.
所以现在倒过完一遍之后啊，一切都过去了，你会好，现在一切都好了。然后现在你回到那个影院的中央。
And we are going to do it again faster.
我们再重新的看一遍。
Everything is fine before the problem.
以更快的速度看它，然后在之前所有事都是如常的。
Fade away. Everything is fine after the problem.
然后在那个问题发生之后，一切都如常。
Everything fine before.
在它之前一切都如常。
Everything fine after.
那之后一切如常。
Both at the same time, black and white pictures.
然后
Everything fine before and after at the same time, blinking in the sides of the movie theater. Okay?
然后两者在这个同时，他们以黑白的画面开始闪现出来。
Okay, you go out of the body again.
然后现在呢，你再次离开你的身
Go
体。
back to the movie cabin where the projector is.
对，再次去到那个电影放映室中。
Go inside.
进去。
There is a glass.
那有一个玻璃。
And from that distance,
在那
okay? From that distance, you see yourself inside of the cabin.
在那个位置，你看到你在那个距离，在那个位置，你看到你自己在那个放映室里。
At the same time, you see yourself sitting in the middle of the theater.
同时，你看到你自己坐在那个影院的中央。
And at the same time, you see the pictures in the movie screen. Everything fine before and everything fine after.
同时呢，你看到那个屏幕上放映着你之前截取那2个画面，之前的一切如常，之后的一切如常。
And you remember that experience in which you feel very confident about yourself.
同时呢，记得你的那个之前你想到那个让你觉得特别有自信的那个体验。
And now you're going to see the movie in the screen. You're going to turn on the projector.
现在呢，你要打开这个放映仪，你要开始放这个电影。
And you see down there, very small, down there in the screen,
然后你就看到那个 very small，
the phobic event there happening in black and white, the problem that you had. There,
然后你就
in
看到，
black and white, it's hard to see its distance.
然后你就看到那个远处你那个小创伤啊，就在那儿，那个大点儿那个小创伤就在很远的地方。
And so, the last scene, everything is fine before the problem.
然后最后的事情呢，就是在这个问题发生之后，一切都如常。
So, you get out of the room,
然后呢，你就从这个房间出来，
go to your seat in the middle of the movie theater,
回到了你在影院中间的那个座位上，
and you put colors in the last scene in which everything is just fine.
然后你在这个屏幕上开始涂颜色，任何颜色都可以。
You go inside the scene, inside the screen, and feel everything fine after that. You go inside the movie screen,
然后你进入这个屏幕，然后你感觉啊，一切都好。
in that last scene in which everything is fine
在那个最后的
after the problem.
在最后的那个景象，就是在那个问题发生之后，一切都好。
And again, we are going to rewind it to the beginning. Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to deconstruct the process. It's difficult to think about the problem, right? And so you go from the end, in which everything was fine, to the beginning, in which everything was fine. And in the middle, the process backwards. Whoa! Okay? Even faster now, okay?
然后我们再重复刚才的那个过程，然后就是之前的和之后的，然后我们在之后一些多少情节开始倒回，开始回放到之前。
Okay, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you start. You go again to the seat in the middle of the movie theater.
然后你又回到坐到那个影院的中央，
Everything fine before.
你看前面屏幕是之前的一切如常，
Everything fine after.
然后之后的一切如常。
Let me ask you something now.
现在让我问你几个问题，
Tell me about your phobia.
告诉我
Where's the phobia?
跟我
Where
讲
is
讲
it?
I need some teeth. Sorry, no my fault.
现在跟我讲讲你的创伤，跟我讲讲你那个恐怖那个事情。
Try in vain to remember that.
I can only remember them
Oh.
in movie theater.
It's amazing, isn't it? Some people do years of therapy to get rid of phobias. We are here, what, for 20 minutes or less?
所以真太神奇了，有很多人花了很多年来治疗他这个恐怖症，然后我们刚才只用了几分钟。
When you think about going to a high place, secure place, how do you feel now?
当你想到那个你要去一个很高的地方的时候，你现在什么感觉？
Tears. 我感觉很混乱，想不起来了已经。
Do you prefer this or do you want me to put back the phobia?
I need more time. I'm very confused, and there are so many new messages entered into my mind.
Mhm.
And so, 他就
But
说
is better now? Do you prefer this or the phobia?
Yeah, I understand your question, but I wonder when I go out of the room, when I really stand on a high building, what will be my feeling?
Well, I guess we have to test, but now you feel better about it. Don't you think it's a good start?
Yeah. Yes.
You felt something very bad and now you are curious about it.
Yeah.
If you want, you can put back the problem. Okay, thank you.
我解释一下吗？刚才哪个？ 说了呀。
就是那个，已经给你做完了。
我知道。
感觉混乱了。
我感觉他就说，那我问我是喜欢这个混乱呢，还是喜欢说之前看到那个就恐高的时候的那个恐惧的那个感受？
一个现在什么感觉？
没有，他就是问我现在就是因为他问我现在就想，我现在想想我走到一个高的地方什么感觉吗？我说我想不出来。我说我觉得脑子现在比较混乱，因为有好多新东西进来了，搞不清楚。他就说，那你是喜欢那种混乱的感觉呢，还是喜欢就是你以往站得高的时候你会恐惧嘛？你喜欢那恐惧吗？我说那我不确定，我说得结束完了以后，真的回去以后，我真的再去个高的地儿看我还怕不怕？如果不怕了，他说你可以回去再测试。他说但是就是现在对你此时此刻就是说，你原来想的这个都是恐惧嘛，但是现在有了新的那个什么，要把它作为一个好的开始，新的开始。谢谢大家。
According to Richard Bandler,
根据 Richard Bandler 的，
they interviewed over 100 people who overcame phobias.
他们差不多见了100，就是100人，对吧？
People who did it without therapists, they did it by themselves. They interviewed, how did you do that? And start to write. How did you overcome the phobia? And they started to model those people.
他们就是在他们采访了100多个这个曾经有过恐怖症的经历的人，然后就问他你是怎么做到的？你是怎么克服了你的恐怖感？
And they came up with this technique because all the people who could change the phobia.
然后他们就
This technique is that everyone who changed their phobias and got better.
所以就是这些人，他们这些克服了、改变了他们这个恐怖的人，他们最后就提出了这个环节里说的这些步骤。
They were able to do something like that, see the thing from another perspective, separate the sequence of the events.
他们能够呢从一个很远的距离来看他们当时的那个过程，而且能够把它们分成几步。
You spend a lot of time thinking about feeling good before, feeling good after, feeling good before, feeling good after.
你花很多的那个时间放在你在之前一切如常的那个美好的感受里，和之后一切如常美好的感受。
And when you think about the phobic event,
所以，那当你去想起那个恐怖症当时那个事情的时候，
you are back in the cabin,
你就回到那个放映室里，
behind the glass,
在那个玻璃屏之后，
and you see yourself in the middle and then in the screen. And so you are dissociated from the problem.
然后呢，你就观察到你观察那个坐在影院中间的你和那个屏幕上的你，然后呢，你就和这个问题之间是一个取消了和问题之间的关联。
And you also relive the phobic experience backwards, from the end to the beginning. So you deconstruct it.
然后你同时呢，你把那个这个刚才咱们那个电影给它回放，从最后然后回放到开始，你就对它进行了一个重新的建构。
This way, there's no way the phobic will remain the same.
对它进行了解构。
This way, there's no way the phobia is going to remain the same because you change completely the structure. You remember the fork. You keep bending until it's not the same. So you have something else. It's not the same. What would
这就是我们所说的，就是你就把你的这个影像，你就把你这个印象给改变了。就像我们前面说那个，你掰那个勺子，可能你一个小的一个影响，但你要使劲掰，你就改变了这幅图像。
what we want with this technique
所以我们在这一点上，我们想要的就是。
is for the person to have a more acceptable response to the problem.
就是希望人们对这个问题有一些更多接纳的态度。
We don't want her hanging from the building or the bridge.
我们并不想让他在那个桥上，在那个建筑物上呢， 做一个什么超人的蜘蛛侠的那个动作。
We want her to have a normal reaction of being careful and feel okay because there's no danger.
我们只希望他能够变得就是比如说常态一些，就是不要那么恐怖，因为并没有危险。
So that's the technique. Questions?
所以这就是我们的目的。那有谁有问题吗？
那个接触是有什么意义？
The anchor. Okay. We do the anchor when I touched her in the arm. That is to anchor the triple dissociation.
当我把他那个
She was at the same time seeing herself in the cabin.
所以在他的那个放映室中看他自己的时候，
At the same time seeing herself in the middle of the theater.
在他同时呢，他看到坐在那个影院中的自己的时候，
And at the same time seeing everything fine before and after the problem. So she's very dissociated from the kinesthetic experiences.
同时呢，他看到那个屏幕上那个两个画面的那个上面的自己的时候，那就是对他来说是
The
他
feelings.
有毛病，他一个人当时要三段分离，电印石坐在中间，屏幕上，他是3次分离，他怎么可以同时的操作呢？毛病帮他安住下来，扶着他也好，这是我的理解。Anchor her, right? You anchoring her to make her grounded in performing the three dissociations at the same time.
Yes.
Right?
And at the same time, I asked her to think about something that she feels very confident.
Yeah.
And so I anchor everything together. So the dissociation and the good feeling, I anchor. And when she's anchored, when I do this, when she feels good because of the distance and because she's remembering a confident experience.
所以我就为他锚定了4个点，就是一个是这里的他，然后里面的那个他，还有就是他觉得自信的时候那个时候的他，然后
This is a good time to see the problem outside in the distance in black and white. Because she sees that outside, she sees the problem outside.
然后这个他当他跟这个屏幕跟那个事件有很大的距离的时候，他就能够去回放看那个画面，当时那个场景。
At the same time, the anchor remembers her that she has something good inside.
同时呢，我对他这个锚定就是提醒他，就是他内在还是有一些美好的东西的。
You keep breaking the phobic experiences. It's like as if it's made by glass, and you keep smashing the sequence, the programming, the old programming, because we tend to, when we have a phobia or whatever, when we have a phobia or a fear or an anxiety,
So
他就是解构的时候，就是他略微的解线解构他这个恐惧的话，他只知道这个恐惧，他要分这3个段，电音石中间不断把支离破碎，这把结构打乱了吗？同时呢，矛盾他让他觉得挺好的，他还是可以的，既打乱他然后后来又重新倒回去一次，最后又挺好，整合起来挺好的，这就是解他的这个他的机制把他这个结构挺好，切碎不断的交叉分离，然后还自信可以的，挺好，不断的呈现可以的，以前也挺好，后来也挺好，中间有小段，现在也给打乱了，给解开了，倒回去，最后还是挺好的，这么一个不断的把支离破碎掉，然后再最后回到那个最好的那个 everything is fine，everything is fine，这样的话他已经打乱了，因为结构没了，就乱了，后来他又重新站起来。
you break the old program,
你打破那个旧的那个程序，
and so the person cannot feel it in the same way.
然后所以这个人就不会再以这个旧的方式去感受同样的事情。
Okay? Question.
非常感谢说的是您提这样的技术啊，我想有一个问题想问一下，就是当这个来访者自己在那个投影室当中的那个放映室当中，看到自己在那个影院坐着的自己，看着屏幕上的自己的时候，那个感受怎么处理呢？心是怎么处理他对这个当这个来访者的感受呢？
I'm so happy to learn this technology with you. And I wonder that I have a question that when the client they sit at in the carpet and they say herself on the screen, and if she has any emotions or feelings, so what should we deal with her emotions?
Well, again, this technique breaks the structure. And so if you follow the pattern, if you follow the steps,
对，我们的这个技术呢是针对它的那个建构，所以如果你跟随着这个环节的话，
it's going to be hard for the person to keep the old feelings and everything because you keep putting things apart all the time. You deconstruct the experience, right? She was smiling at one point because it was difficult to think about the problem because it was changing, and so it's difficult to have the old emotions. That's not the time to go and feel emotions. It's time to break the old pattern.
他就当他这样跟着这个环节的时候，其实他根本就没有时间去想起来他过去的那些感受，因为他不停的在给他打碎，然后再给他解构，不停地把那个不同的部分拆开，然后所以他根本没有时间去想以前的感受是什么。
And that's why you have to do as I did, going, like, do this, do that, and now you do this, because it don't give room for the person to go in feelings. It's the time to break the old experience. It's not the time to go inside and be in touch with your feelings. It's not the moment for that.
这个时刻呢，这个环节是为了是打破你的过去的那些体验，过去的那个建构，所以呢，但它不是一个让我们重新与自己的情感进行连接的一个过程，所以我们要不停的这么说，就是现在开始走到那儿，然后这样呢，就是让你一直去跟着这个节奏，然后去打破以前的建构。
And Richard Bandler says something very interesting.
然后Richard Bandler 说过一些特别有趣的事儿。
If in the future the phobia returns,
在未来，这个恐怖症回来的时候，
you take 20 minutes more and do it again.
你只需要
10分钟再做一遍。
You do the experience, the technique again, if it returns.
就如果他回来，你只要再花20分钟，再做一遍。
那个，比如说恐惧的事情，那还有对于恐惧的人，比如说想起一个人就很恐惧他，对于人的处理可以怎么样？
So, I just see you deal with the phobia about humans, and if I have a phobia about one person, so can we deal with that?
Anything that is considered phobia, this technique should work. Anything. It doesn't matter what.
任何你觉得是恐怖的东西，其实这个方法都是有效的。
But it's not for fears, it's for phobias, okay? The best technique for fears
但是它并不是针对害怕的那个情绪，它是针对那个恐惧症的情绪。然后针对害怕的最好的方式就是。
the best technique for fears is the other one we did before with the eyes. Okay? Because it's better for fears. For phobias is this technique. Don't work
fears in this technique because it's something else. Okay, this is for phobia. When it's so intense, so strong, and the person don't feel able to do because there's a phobia, something very strong inside. This is the technique.
就我们处理那个害怕的是用我们刚才上一个那个环节讲到的，我们把眼睛放在不同那个位置，然后这个呢是更多的 了一个恐怖症，然后恐怖症就是那种如此的强烈、如此猛烈的情绪，让你根本什么都做不了。
Okay, can we go to the last? So, let's roll to the end, please, for the email.
所以就回到最后的那种，回到后最后。
This is the whole technique. You will receive this with all the steps.
这是所有的步骤，这个记录所有步骤。
Okay, I'm gonna make sure. Okay, so this was a very brief workshop so that you could feel a bit of the NLP.
这是一个非常简短的一个工作坊，让你能够感受 NLP 是什么。
I understand that those things seem very unusual when you don't have the training.
我知道，如果你没有参加过培训的话，这对你来说是一个非常不寻常的体验。
When I teach the practitioner in NLP practitioner course,
在我在 NLP 这个教授这个 NLP 的实践的课程中，
I guide the students to use all these patterns, and you practice among yourself. It's very nice, but we need time to do it. We can't do this in one day.
我教我的学生们去使用我们刚才讲的所有的环节，然后自己去练习，但是这需要时间，然后我们今天时间不够。
I do those certifications course. I deliver this in Brazil every year in several cities.
然后我呢，就是每年呢都，因为我就是在这个，我就负责这个证书的那个认证，然后我每年都会做这些培训。
What I wanted here was to give you some experience so that you could feel changes, some changes that NLP can do to people, especially psychologists to work with their clients, and or we can do it in our lives for ourselves.
我希望今天呢能够带给你们一些体验，就是说这个 NLP 是否让你们体验到了一些改变、一些变化，然后我们也可以把这些应用到我们自己的生活和我们的来访者身上。
I have some books on introduction to NLP, but they are in Portuguese by now. If one day you know someone who wants them translated to Chinese, I'll be happy to give it to be translated for Chinese, in which all those techniques, the basic techniques are presented.
我也写了一些书，然后书上都呈现了我这个所有的 NLP 的这个环节，就是可以使用的技术，但是它现在还没被进化，还没被就是被翻译成外文。如果谁愿意帮我翻译，我也觉得太好了。
你帮我翻译，他用葡萄牙语写的。
用葡萄牙语写的。
I would like to thank you very much for being here today.
我想非常感谢大家今天在这里上课。
I'll see if I can send some more material on NLP to Carl so that he can give to you.
我会看我是不是有一些更多的资料，然后可以传给大家关于 NLP。
And I would like to say that it was an honor for me to be here in China talking to you.